start by seeing Scarlett, who is recording herself on a bus, saying that she has crossed the Iranian border and is currently traveling to an area where the destruction of a cave network will occur. Scarlett is determined to examine these caves because she believes they contain a missing piece of history, although she is aware that the punishment for intrusion is death. Later that night, Scarlett meets her friend Reza, who shows her the way to the caves by moving a table in his house, revealing a hole in the wall. Using a flashlight, Scarlett and Reza venture into the caves, trying not to be discovered while soldiers pass in front of them. Reza insists they must leave because they're running out of time, but Scarlett refuses, stating that they haven't started to demolish the caves yet since it isn't dark. The two friends run through the caves, arriving at a message on a stone wall, which is more beautiful than Scarlett could have imagined. Scarlett begins to hammer the wall while her friend pleads with her to stop, when the stone collapses, revealing a passageway that Scarlett enters. Inside, she is thrilled to discover a large animal-like statue with horns, called the Pink Key, claiming she needs to scan the inscriptions on the statue. Reza starts to panic, saying they need to leave, but Scarlett remains still, shouting that her father spent his entire life trying to find this statue. Scarlett searches for inscriptions on the statue while a countdown is heard in the background. Scarlett runs out of the passageway, seeing a man hanging in front of her. She continues to run, barely escaping with her life as the cave is demolished. Scarlett screams for Reza and finds him, and they both return to the house, breathless and adrenaline-filled. Reza insists she needs to be more careful, stating that her father's mission was a path to madness. However, Scarlett remains firm, saying her father was not crazy. Convinced that the pursuit of this mission is dangerous, Reza says, everyone who hunts for the Philosopher's Stone is crazy, and they all end up dead. In the next scene, we see Scarlett being filmed by someone as she claims she is a lecturer at University College in London and a passionate archaeologist. We see that Scarlett is in Paris, while the man behind the camera asks what her father taught her about the Philosopher's Stone. Scarlett replies that this stone is an elusive substance that has the potential to turn common metals into gold and may provide the key to eternal life. Scarlett shows a drawing depicting the story of the stone, stating, "The creation of the stone was the goal of alchemy, which was a primitive form of science." The man behind the camera asks if there is any truth to the rumors about Scarlett's father being mentally unstable. Scarlett's expression quickly changes as she says many people came to that conclusion because her father committed suicide. The cameraman and Scarlett walk through the streets of Paris while Scarlett shows where the greatest of alchemists, Nicolas Flamel, once lived. Scarlett continues this historical tour by saying that tomb raiders tried to unearth the stone from Flamel's tomb but found his coffin empty. Next, they go to a museum, finding Nicolas Flamel's hand-carved tombstone, and Scarlett states that her father believed the clue to finding the Philosopher's Stone is hidden on this tombstone in arcane symbols. Scarlett says that the meaning behind these arcane symbols remained a mystery until she discovered the Pink Key, which we saw at the beginning of the film. The Pink Key can translate the symbols on Flamel's tombstone into Aramaic, which, unfortunately, Scarlett does not speak. However, fortunately for them, Scarlett knows someone who does. In the next scene, Scarlett breaks into the door of a church, climbing to its highest point, where she claims to know someone who frequently breaks in and fixes things. Scarlett finds George, with whom she had a romantic relationship in the past. Scarlett doesn't have the chance to say a few words before George states he wants nothing to do with whatever Scarlett is involved in. We discover that the man behind the camera is Benji, who is making a documentary about Scarlett's quest for the stone. George seems to be filled with resentment, telling Benji to stay away from Scarlett. Scarlett pleads with George for a favor, but George reminds her of the last time they were together, which ended with him in a Turkish prison. It seems Scarlett is determined to pursue her archaeological objectives no matter the cost or how it impacts the lives of others. George seems uninterested until Scarlett mentions she found the Pink Key in Iran, claiming she needs George's help to translate the Aramaic on Flamel's tombstone. Scarlett could not be happier when George agrees to assist with the translation, but he insists that this is all he will do for her. The trio heads to the museum, where George translates Flamel's tombstone, making Scarlett believe the answer is on the back of the tombstone. Removing the tombstone, she examines the back, seeing nothing until she mixes some cleaning products and scrubs the mixture onto the tombstone's back. Scarlett is so determined to unravel this mystery that she goes to the extreme of removing historical artifacts. Scarlet asks for a match and lights the chemicals, revealing some hidden words. George continues to translate these new words and discovers they translate roughly as the gates of hell. Scarlet looks through her father's books and connects the missing pieces, discovering that 113 meters and 500 feet below Flamel's tombstone is where they will find the stone. Scarlet declares they will use the catacombs to get there. Looking at two large maps, George and Scarlet discover that the catacombs do not go under Flamel's tomb. However, Scarlet points out that there is a hidden chamber within the catacombs, while George mysteriously says he won't go down, to which Scarlet apologizes for suggesting it. We then see Benji and Scarlet going on a tour of the catacombs, many skulls lining the walls, while they are told this is the largest crypt in the world. Scarlet notes they need to find a way into the restricted area of the catacombs to start their search for the stone. A boy sitting on a rock tells them to go to a club and talk to Papillon. He will guide them to that restricted area. However, looking back through the camera, Benji sees that the boy has disappeared. Later that night, George, Scarlet, and Benji go to a club looking for Papillon. Benji sees a pale woman in a white dress leaving the club, filming her as she stares at him before walking away. They find Papillon, who, though seeming hesitant to accompany them to the catacombs, agrees when Scarlet says the secret chamber is full of treasures. Papillon then makes a deal that he and his friends will keep half of the treasure, which Scarlet doesn't mind since it's not the treasure she is looking for. The next day, George insists he will not go to the catacombs, although Scarlet begs him to come with the group. Papillon introduces Scarlet, Benji, and George to Zed, his climber, and his girlfriend Suxi. Benji continues to record, and while the group discusses the plan, Benji focuses on the scar on Papillon's hand, which he later asks Zed about. However, Zed replies that he doesn't want to talk about it. Benji asks Suxi about the dangers of the catacombs, and she